Hello to all my friends and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. Club. It's lunchtime here in Sydney on this Tuesday, this summer Tuesday. Bit of cloud cover, but there's also a bit of blue in the sky, a gentle breeze coming through, and it's a keeper. I reckon today's a keeper. A beautiful day, especially down here by the harbour. Check it out, look at this view from this vantage point. I'm up here on the International Passenger Terminal, and as you can see, things just look absolutely spectacular from up here. And I come up here virtually 2 or 3 times a week, and it never ceases to amaze me, nor surprise me. But it actually does surprise me that hardly anybody comes up here to enjoy the vista, the beautiful view over Sydney CBD, across Circular Quay, over to the Opera House, and if you keep on coming round, you got the Harbour Bridge up there as well. Anyway, let me just grab a corner here and just chill out, and what I'll do is I'll deliver another 5 a.m. club. I absolutely love doing this. This is definitely my calling and something that I will take ownership, especially this sort of space. So today's book review summary, the book is entitled Work the System. Work the System, and the author is named Sam Carpenter. So let's see where this book takes us, this book summary, because every book I ever read, every summary I ever go through, I learn something, and it's all about learning as much as you can, because the more you know, the more you're capable of learning and knowing. So let's just continue along our merry path and see where it takes us. So I guess we'll start here, and what the author is saying here is that most people don't fail because they make mistakes. They fail because they don't take action. How true is that? How true is that? Most people don't fail because they make mistakes, but they fail because they fail to take action. Can't get any truer than that. What a beautiful, beautiful statement, and a jaw dropper in terms of how powerful that is, and how we all see it. We see it every day in our lives. We see people complaining, we see people carrying on, but we don't see too many people willing to roll up their sleeves and take action in order to solve their problems and to better their lives. They're all big on taking pot shots at the system, they're taking pot shots at the government, at the Prime Minister, blaming everybody else and claiming that everything's collapsing, the world's falling apart, and blah 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 blah. Chicken littles everywhere, thinking that the sky is falling in, and the sky never falls in, and catastrophe never comes about. So hopefully this book here, this book summary, will help explain why the world stays together and it doesn't fall apart. And if it gets shaken and stirred every now and then, it's only momentary and things get back into equilibrium. And it's the basic lesson that I learnt at chemistry when I was in high school, that all chemical reactions eventually come back to equilibrium. And similarly, the world, which is based on a number of systems, all find their equilibrium point. So the first point that the author makes from the book here is that the world works on systems, and they work in spite of humans and not because of us. So even though a lot of people think that humans control this, that and the other, at the end of the day, it's the systems that are in place, which are self-regulating, self-managing, and just make sure that things just happen time in and time out without the over control of particular people or particular organisations, regardless of what people think. And the author suggests here that systems are naturally inclined to be both stable and efficient. You know, you don't have to do very much. You know, you don't have to do very much to ensure that the weather stays as it is, that the sun comes up, the sun goes down, the moon comes up, the clouds come in, it rains, the drought happens. It's all part of a cycle, but it's all part of a cycle that is naturally inclined to be stable. It may not be stable today, but over a period, over a season, over a lifetime, it eventually finds its stability point. And you know, the earth, the world, is based and predicated on a number of systems which are in various cycles. So sometimes they're in cycle, in sync, and sometimes they're out of cycle. But over a long period of time, there is a balance there, a natural balance, a beautiful balance, a godly balance that makes sure that it all happens according to the greater plan. So at the end of the day, our view, our individual view of systems is limited and subjective. Now, people claim to be economists and they claim to understand how the stock market works and how the gold market works and how the coal and iron ore markets work. But at the end of the day, they all know jack shit, because these systems are so complex and have so many intricate moving parts that no one person has a monopoly of knowledge to enable them to become a master or to truly understand how these systems work. All they can do is just come up with opinion, and as you know, that opinion can either be empowering opinion, positive opinion, or it could be negative opinion, opinion which leads one to think that the world's about to become a catastrophe, or it's out of control, or it's out of this, or it's out of that. But at the end of the day, there is an organised chaos which is happening in our markets, in our systems, in our lives, that are usually beyond us. So as we alluded to and as we mentioned, things are far too complex. But that's the good thing, because they're self-reinforcing and stable and don't need us or people to manage them. Because as we've seen over the years, governments are absolutely hopeless at managing things, managing businesses, or running anything. So you're better off things being automatic and self-reinforcing, so that at least we know that they're not going to implode based on human intervention. So the author then moves on to talk about a few other things, and the other things that he talks about is the importance on focusing on the systems that you can control and stop complaining about the ones you can't control. How much chatter I see on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, how much bullshit opinion do you see out there of people voicing opinions on things which are completely outside their control and completely outside everybody's control? They talk as if they can just pull a lever, pull a switch and solve climate or solve economic growth or solve the share market crash or the share market growth. They think that there are buttons that people can sit there and play with and sort the system out. But at the end of the day, the system is self-reinforcing, and it's based on many systems which are inextricably intertwined, and no one person, no group of people, no half dozen billionaires sitting in a room can understand how all of these systems fit together and how human emotion works, and to think that there are people who can control the world, or things, that levers that people can pull to influence how people behave, you're on another planet. So the bottom line from this author is stop complaining about oil prices, stock markets, politics, etc. because you're only wasting your time. You're wasting your time because these systems are far bigger, far more intricate and far more complex than any one nation or any group of nations could ever hope to control. Because the bottom line, as the author says, is you simply won't change anything by whinging about it, by complaining about it. And because no one has control over the systems within their lifetimes, regardless of how wealthy they are. Even the wealthiest person in the world has insignificant influence over the global systems, and to think that they do is once again a sign that you're absolutely kidding yourself. So the author suggests that we need to learn to play with the hand that you have been dealt, and don't complain about every other thing that is happening around you, because it's the luck of the draw and it's completely random. So don't take it personally. Just do whatever you have to do to solve the challenges that we all face on an individual basis. And the way to do this, according to the author here, is to take a step back and analyze the systems in your life. Take a moment to think and reflect about which systems, which social circles, that which general, big and small systems that you're part of. Look at the individual parts that you can fix in your life, that you have control of within these bigger systems, and focus on doing the best with the things that you can control and the things that you can change or set in motion, a ripple effect that can help motivate others to look after the things that they can control, and so on and so forth. But to think that you can control, that you can influence what I think, how I behave, how your neighbour thinks and how they behave, by just telling them what to do, or just thinking that there are levers, buttons or knobs or whatever, or controls, then you're wasting your time. So in summary, the author here suggests that all we can do is control the things that we have available to us to control, and the things that we can control in reality are just the decisions that we make on a moment by moment basis. We can't control our partners, we can't control our children, we can't control our relatives, we can't control our work peers, we can't control the government, we can't control anything. And the more you look at it, the more divided the world is. So there's no consensus of thought, there's no consensus of focus on anything anymore. So just to find one other person who shares your view, or shares 2 or 3 of your views, your passionate views on anything, is virtually impossible. So you need to understand that we're all isolated, we're all uniquely different, and we're not going to be part of too many tribes where we've got more than 1 or 2 common interests and common views. Anyway, thanks very much for joining me on this energetic 5 a.m. club. I hope I didn't get too carried away, but let's finish off with the positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, and stay reasonable. And most importantly, let's look at the things that we can change in our world, in our systems, understand, reflect, and identify the things that we're part of. And more specifically, let's have a look at the small things that we can do to make the greatest difference, the greatest impact, and to stop whinging, stop complaining about all the things which are beyond, absolutely beyond your control, and beyond the control of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people, regardless of whether or not they share the same view. Because everything is complex. Everything is inextricably intertwined, and nobody, but nobody, understands what levers need to be pulled and how people are going to react to it is the bottom line and the key theme of this wonderful book summary that we just went through. And I guess we can leave it there. So there you go. We just completed another book summary entitled Work the System as opposed to Work Against the System or Complain About the System by Sam Carpenter. And I look forward to coming to you again from a different location with a different message, wishing you all the very best from this beautiful summer Sydney day from up here at the International Passenger Terminal. Yasas, Pilakya, and bye to everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day. Ciao.